Well, good evening and welcome to today's programme. Welcome to Caribbean Praise with myself, Grant. It's good to have your company today. My guests on the programme today are no strangers to the music industry. They've been around for a while, especially the gentleman. I think he started out around about when he was about 14, something strange like that. Anyway, I've been really looking forward to greeting them on the platform, and I hope you're going to receive them as well as I am. Please make welcome Barry Boom and his wife Valerie Robinson as well. How are you guys?
Thank you.
All right?
Yes, we're really good. Nice to be here.
It's good to see you guys. It really is good to see you guys. So look, here's the thing. You guys have been around doing music for a while now, and you know, if I was to mention a group name from back in the, should I say 80s? A group called One Blood.
70s, late 70s.
Was it late 70s?
Yeah, 1979. One Blood was formed.
Okay. And what age was you round about that time?
79. I was 16, 15. No, 15. I was 15.
15.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. But that wasn't my first, exposure to the music, though, because before that we did an album called the Simeons with three brothers.
Right.
Called Dub Conference in London in 1978.
Wow.
That was my first introduction to actually having a real tangible record.
So you weren't 15 then, you was younger.
Yes, I was actually 13 when we actually did that recording of the album.
Wow.
Dub Conference in London. Mm-hmm.
Dub Conference in London.
London. And it was by the Simeons.
Right.
Came out on Freedom Sounds label.
I remember Freedom Sounds. I'm kind of giving my age away as well. So you've been around for a while.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
For a hot minute. Okay, great. Now let's because I didn't know the history going back that far. I only knew about One Blood.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And most people are already Googling One Blood. All right, but give us what would be the tracks that you guys were known for? Can you remember some of the titles?
Well, in terms of One Blood?
Yes.
Yeah, it'd be like House Is Not a Home, All in the Game, Show Some Love, Be Thankful.
Wow.
Come on, sister. Yeah. Spark in your eyes. Get in touch. Running around. Be thankful.
Ebony
eyes.
My goodness, you know? Valerie knows. Hey, listen. Some of the titles you just mentioned, I was like, as soon as you said it, I remember. Okay, so Neville King used to play at UGS Settlement in South London, and he was hammering out your music like crazy. Was there a connection with Neville King Sound at one point? Did he do any production, or was you signed or anything?
Well, Neville had his record label, Neville King Records,
right?
But he's not a producer. You know what I mean? He's what you call an executive producer who pays for the session.
Right.
You understand? The producer is the actual person that actually does the creative process and arrangements and all of that sort of stuff. That's a job that I do,
right?
As a producer. So Neville King put out the first two One Blood albums, In Love and Super Showcase. That's where we did most of the initial One Blood recordings over there.
I've got to give a shout out to Neville King then, because I guess through the work that he was doing with you guys, that's how I got to learn about One Blood. So yeah, big up to Neville.
Gave us the exposure, and you know what I mean, and starting to learn, and to learn more about how the game goes. You know,
most definitely. Now you've mentioned that you produce. I know that you write. I know that you play instruments. How many instruments do you play?
Well, I play drums. I play keyboards. I play guitar, and of course I sing.
You've just named all of the important instruments, because I mean, if you can play keyboard and drums, that's it. You've got this thing licked from top to bottom, and you produce as well, and you write. You're a genius.
Well, thank you. God has blessed me with a multitude of talents. You know what I mean, and I respect that. But I am blessed because I'm the youngest of 6 boys.
Okay.
And the eldest brother Neville was never in the music, but all the 5 younger brothers, we that's what formed One Blood. So with me being young in the 72, 73, 74, my older brothers were in different bands.
Right.
And that's so from a very young age I was exposed. But when we first started, it was probably about 1972, 73. In my brother's bedroom, we had a piano. My brother Trevor would get together the shoe boxes and my mum's tin pan lids and everything to make. And we'd sellotape the microphone to the guitar.
I could just imagine your mum. Oh, no, stop the noise up there! Stop the noise!
Well, they encouraged us because my 3 elder brothers in the group, they all had piano lessons.
Right.
So our parents always encouraged us to do and be free to express ourselves. You know what I mean?
Excellent. Now, how long was the span of One Blood, and what happened afterwards?
One Blood was really from 1979 to 1987. Right.
Good run.
And well, we had a good run. The only thing that happened was the eldest one in the group, Errol, who sings "Sparkle in Your Eyes" or "The Game," those songs. He was like the founder of One Blood.
Every time you say "All in the Game," I just think of Cubies.
Okay. We performed
all nations.
Many times we performed in those venues. But yeah, in 1987, no, it's 86. 87. Yeah. March 87, he passed away. He was due to have a heart lung transplant, and he passed away before that, and it just changed, the dynamic of what was happening with the band, and by that time, just to scooch back, I started doing a lot of production work with my own label and stuff. Did God King, Papa Levi. That was my very first production.
That was you.
That was my very first production, 1983. Yeah.
My goodness.
It was a massive hit. 6 weeks #1 here. Yeah. It was the first British artist to go #1 in Jamaica. It was in #1 in Jamaica for 6 weeks as well. It's actually in the Guinness Book of Records for that. You know what I mean?
Excellent.
And, so I was doing that, and then I met up with Maxi Priest, and then I started producing songs like "Should I" in the springtime, "Cho McCoon. I produced
Oh my gosh!
Your Safe album, because it was on my label Level Vibes initially, and then it got signed over to Virgin.
That's when it took off.
Yeah, so I was very busy doing lots of things, and when it comes to being in the music business full time, there was really only 3 members of the band that would take the plunge and go full time, not 9 to 5 in.
Yeah. So
when you don't have everybody pulling in the same direction, then it sort of falls apart. As a family, everybody was cool, but just the whole creative thing, and with Errol not being there, it wasn't the same. So
it wasn't the same.
Sorry.
It wasn't the same. It wasn't the same without Errol. It kind of was a little bit shaky.
Yeah, well, not even that it was shaky. It's just that times had changed. You know what I mean? Because you had the advent of the drum machine. That was out. So bands rehearsing. But back when we started, there was a band rehearsing on every corner. Everything was live. Yeah. You know what I mean? So when the drum machine comes in, it changes how you work in the studio. You don't need a band. Okay. You know what I mean? Then it become more session musicians, and then the bands break up. And it's mostly was live work then. And then when it changed to the PA circuit, when you're a live band and you take away the instruments, we're not the Temptations. You know what I mean? Doing set dance routines and that kind of thing. So the whole kind of music industry was kind of in a flux and changing. You know what I mean?
And it was changing regularly as well, wasn't it? It was like 1 minute was this, then the fashion was this. Doing PAs at clubs. You don't need a band anymore. What do you mean you don't need a band anymore? Just backing tracks.
Because PAs was mostly soul artists would mostly do PAs and stuff like that. But when the reggae promoters started to adapt that, then they realized, well, if I get one band and say it costs $8,000 to book the band, I could spend $4,000 and get 5 artists doing a PA, and then it cuts down the budget, but it also cuts down the production and what the value that the customers get, and also the experience of the musicians working constantly and honing their talent and everything. So
this is really good, because a lot of youngsters that are watching the program right now are learning a few things, how it used to be back in the day. Now, Valerie.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us. You're an artist in your own right, okay? But before we get to that, I want to know, your picture's just gone like that and then it's gone back like that. What I want to know, what the viewers want to know, is how long have you been together and how did you meet Paul?
Wow. Right. Well, we've been together nearly 40 years.
Yes.
And we've been married for 35 years.
Wow.
Well, this year will be 36.
August will be 36.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's a funny story, actually. When I first met Paul, I went to a party. I was dating someone at the time.
Right.
And I was taken to a party. And I knew that it was a band, that it was One Blood. And it was one of the brothers were having a party.
Right.
It was Ewan's 21st.
Yeah. And I was 17, Bourne was 16. And I remember being introduced to him. He had a girlfriend, and but she had left early or something.
Yeah, she left the party.
Yeah, she left the party, yeah. So we were youngsters. But the key thing about that night was that it was a night of the New Cross fire.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
The same night?
Exact same night.
Exact same night. And I remember when I got home, everyone was calling because it was in Lewisham. I went to a party in Lewisham. I'm originally from Battersea.
Right.
And so I've left to go to this party all the way at the time. You know, you're a youngster. It's like Lewisham seems miles away.
Right.
And I'm a South West Londoner. Now I'm going over into South East London.
East London, right. Okay.
Everyone's in still, isn't it? But yeah, so I went to this party and I remember, meeting Paul there.
Yeah.
And speaking to him and everything. But, that was just a meeting. It wasn't like that's when we first got together. We didn't get together till about
3 years after.
Our subsequent relationships had ended. By then we developed a relationship.
Yeah, I thought, here's my chance. Get in there.
Paul, did you ask her for a dance that night? Did you ask her for a dance?
Funny enough, before we actually got together, like my relationship ended, and I really liked Paul, so I would always ask for his advice. Like if someone asked me to go on a date, I would ask him for his opinion, and Paul would always be like,
No. I mean, he ain't no good. He ain't no good. I was in the friend zone, so I had to get out of the friend zone.
Don't deal with that one. He's a ruffian.
No, we laugh about it now because he says he was in the friend zone, but I had no idea, But
yeah. So how did things get serious? Can you remember?
Yeah, I remember how things got serious. We used to meet up sometimes. Like occasionally we'd go swimming. He had a bike. He used to ride a bike. And I used to ride my bike to and from work as well, and I remember him just saying he wanted to see me one day. And then we met up.
I used to work in Sound City Record Shop in New Cross, just up the road from the New Cross.
Yeah, Lee Sound City.
Yeah, on the same road. So I used to have half day Wednesday, and every half day Wednesday, I would go and check Valerie.
Right.
So as a clock reach half, let me look on my bike, get into Battersea. You know what I mean? And then obviously, as things went on, and I realised, I've got to say how I feel, and and I said to her, and she felt the same way, and then 18 months later we were married.
18 months later.
Yeah.
And is that right? You've got 4 children, 4 lovely children.
4 children. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And how do they break down? Give us the ages.
The ages is
oldest is 40.
That's Andre.
That's Andre. And then we've got a 33-year-old.
That's Renee Louise.
Right.
Which is Renee Louise. And then we've got a 30-year-old this month.
Right.
No. Then it's Ashley. Ashley's 30.
Ashley's first,
Ashley is 31.
Ashley's 31.
And then Layla is going to be Layla, our youngest Layla.
Little Layla.
Our youngest Layla, she's going to be 30
She's
in
going to
June.
be 30.
Wow.
And we have 6 grandchildren.
That is absolutely marvellous, isn't it?
Yeah. No, she doesn't like when we say the ages, but our grandchildren are from 21.
Yeah.
He's not 21 yet.
Is he now 21 now?
No.
When is his birthday?
Not quite.
Okay, June 21st, he's going to be 21.
Not
and the
far
youngest
off.
is 10. Four boys, 2 girls.
4 boys and 2 girls.
Okay, so in all of that, who's gone down the musical route? Both like your children and grandchildren. Anyone gone down the musical route?
No one.
No one.
Cece Sienna, which is our granddaughter.
Yeah.
She's showing a passion.
She's showing
for
signs.
music.
She sings and she dances and
she
things like
dances
that.
and stuff. So we think it's her. We're the kind of parents that, you know, we let our children
be themselves,
develop and be who they want to be,
and support them in what they want to do,
and whatever they want to do.
Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Now, in
But
terms
we do get them
of
to work for us though. Like they do back
You
in
do?
back in
get them in the
and
studio.
listen, get them in front of that
they
microphone.
can sing.
Get them in.
Save money on the budget.
That's right. Valerie,
Yes.
when did you start singing?
I started singing in church actually.
Uh-huh.
I was brought up in the church. My mum's a Sunday school teacher, missionary, and so I was always singing in church and performing in plays and things like that.
Right.
And then when I went to school, I was in a group called the Black Beauties. But it was like just fun. We used to sing like 3 Degrees songs and you know, try and make out like we were 15, 16 and 17 or something like
I
that.
remember that Lovers Rock group.
Yeah.
15, 16 and 17.
Do you remember? Yeah,
I
they
do.
were brilliant. And they were our idols. So I did that when I was in school. And actually, because I knew Paul, because I was more of a songwriter, I write poetry, I'm more of a writer.
Okay.
And when I started speaking to Paul about my songwriting, he was like, no, you got to come to rehearsals, you know, meet my brothers and, you know, see how you get on, see if we can make sense of your song sort of thing, you know?
Right.
So singing for myself, like, you know, remember, I'm the wife. So once we got together, we already planned, we want to have children, we want to have a family.
Yeah.
Paul got successful immediately. Everything he'd done at that time seemed to be turning to gold. And so before I know it, he's off on tour. Sly and Robbie, Maxi Priest, Freddie McGregor, Chaka Demus and Pliers, musical directing. You know, so we agreed that I would be the one that would bring the stability because I have to look after the children. So even though I sing, I continued with my writing.
Right.
So I was always writing for Barry Bowman, writing for others. Like I've written for Janet Lee Davis, I've written for Mighty Diamonds. But I just was focused on my role, which was to raise my children, and because Paul's in and out of the country, so as a family, had moments where you know 3-4 months at a time, you know, I still have to be at home with the children.
Yeah,
so,
but what I did used to do when I did used to tour regularly is that when we go to the Caribbean and the hot places, that's when I fly Valerie out, so that all of these experiences that I'm experiencing, that it's not a story that she's hearing, that she's actually been part of it.
Yeah.
So she toured with us with Sly and Robbie and Freddie McGregor on that world tour, all over America and everything. You know what I mean? So, you know, because you got to keep your relationship going when you're in the entertainment business, because it's a difficult life when you're on the other side of the world. You know, it takes a lot of trust. You know what I mean? And your belief in God and, you know, his ways and what is right from what is wrong, because there's a lot of temptation out there in the world, especially when you're traveling with a successful artist or band. You know what I mean? The trappings that are around you, they're very easy to get stuck in those kind of things. So you have to keep away from those things and remain true to your vows and all that lot. So sometimes they'd say, why are you spending all this money flying Valerie out? And I say, but hey, this is my relationship, and here we are 35 years down the line, and you know, most of, you know, who we've been working with over the years, or people, you know, they're in their 4th, 5th relationships, but by that time, you know what I mean? So, you know, we've focused on what is most important, and that's been our relationship. you know, taking care of our family and showing them a good example to follow, you know.
Most
But I have
definitely.
to add to that and say that, you know, for us, you know, when people ask us that question, it is about maintaining a relationship with God. And we recognize that, you know, all the blessings that we've had and the fact that we are still going strong and are stronger than ever is based on the fact that we followed the ways of the Most High, you know, and we got that early. We were married early, and we had blessings spoken over us by our elders. And there's one particular scripture, which is, you know, unless the Lord builds the house, the laborers labor in vain. And we discovered that early. And
well, it was my uncle David. That was his speech at the wedding, and then we looked at what he was actually.
to go look it up.
Look and see what he's actually saying. So we realised that as the Lord builds that relationship, it's going to be in vain. So that's when we started to be, because we've always been God-fearing people, but that's when we started to, you know, really look at our faith and that kind of thing, you know.
Yeah, and here you are today. Absolutely brilliant. I just love the story of how you guys came together. Valerie, you've now come into your own. You've got a single out called "Stand By Your God."
Yes.
Okay. Now, you've said you've written lots of songs in the past. I mean, you know, your career goes back, writing-wise, to the 80s. But why now? I mean, is it because the children has grown up and there's more time to do what the Lord would have you to do? Why now?
Yeah, I believe it's the Lord's work for real. I'm actually part of a network of women, you know, business women, Christian women, you know, and they asked me to give a talk. You know, I give talks on, I'm a relationship coach, you know.
Right.
They asked me to give a talk on marriage, on relationships and that kind of thing. And while I was giving...
Okay, so we've just lost them there just for a minute, but you've come back again.
Sorry, we're here.
Carry on.
I was giving this talk, and I remembered that I was telling them how you have to be loyal and stand by your man, and using biblical references, you know. And whilst I was doing that, I remembered that I did a song years ago, which was a dub play or something. One of our Christian friends who is a DJ and he plays at Christian events, and he had this favourite song of his called "Stand By Your God," and he's always loved it.
Stand by your man.
Stand by your man, and he's always loved that.
It was the Merlin Webber version.
And yeah, so he had approached Paul and asked him if he could, you know,
do a dub play of it.
Yeah, and then insisted that I sing it. And on the day I was so ill, and then Paul came in and said, "Look, you have to sing this song." And I was saying, he's got loads of singers he could.
Yeah, because we've got to deliver the song. He's got a function that he's performing at, and that he's playing at, and he wants to do the tune, and he's a good friend of ours. So I got her up out of bed, you know, with a croaky voice, and said, "This is what we're going to do." And I work, because I'm a hard taskmaster when I'm producing.
I think so.
My standards are high. So I did work. It was quite a touchy session, but we got the work done. But it was actually 5 years ago that it was done, that we recorded "Stand By Your God."
That.
You know, but it was Valerie. Okay, right. Well,
well, it starts with Paul because it was from a dear friend of his, who is a Christian DJ. And he would always come to Paul with his favourite songs that he likes that have been, you know, maybe recorded before by like Gregory or whoever. Yeah. And he would ask Paul to, you know, work with him to rewrite lyrics and adapt them from the Christian perspective. And then they were doing that, and that's how Paul's album eventually came into play, because the work was so good that they decided that they were going to make an album. Now, during the course of that, he had this idea that he's had for years, and he wants a woman to sing it, and it's called "Stand By Your Man." And it was, as Paul said, it is a reggae version by Merlin Webber. And he loved it, but he wants to change it to God, "Stand By Your God." And that's what they did. He sent
we just reworked the lyrics, and
they reworked the lyrics, and Paul was just telling you how he had to get me up out of bed to go and sing this song.
It had to be you.
It had to be
you.
It had to be me. And to be honest, if it wasn't anyone other than
Danny.
That asked
she
me
wouldn't
to
have
do
done
it,
it.
I probably would have just said, I'm not doing it. But because it's Brother Danny, and because I love him, he's such a dear man, and, you know, he's a man of God, I couldn't turn him away. You know what I mean?
And she did a great job, because it's that same vocal that's on the record.
Yeah.
Same vocal. But as she was saying, because it's part of the project that started my latest album, His Love.
Yeah.
Which is, as you know, is a gospel, 15-track gospel reggae album. But it started out with, you know, the Cheryl Lynn song, You're Gonna Need Me, which Errol Dunkley had. Yes. That was the very first dub plate that he wanted me to do. But we couldn't find the backing track for the song. So I said, well, I've got my studio, I'll just build a rhythm. So I built the rhythm and then did the song, and that you know, he happy with that. And then he wanted to do Rain from the Skies, and we changed it to Ice from the Skies, and we did what's it called again?
Did you do Jam Music? Wasn't it Jam Music?
Jam Music was one of the greatest. We did change that, but also did Kingdom
Living.
Yeah, which was Country Living.
Yes, Mighty Diamonds Country Living. You changed it to Kingdom Living.
Yes.
Okay, I'm with you.
Yeah, but the stuff was sounding so good, and I'm in my yard listening to the tunes, and I'm saying, but this is just too good for dub plates. You know what I mean? Because once again, I take pride in my work, so when I'm building it, it's end up sounding like it's a record to be released.
Right.
And the subject matter of it being a Christian project, because at the same time I was doing Junior Dan's gospel reggae album. I was producing another album with a new artist called Al White, another gospel reggae album with him. I was doing at the same time.
Right.
And I was also producing Lloydie Roots' debut album, which isn't out yet. Right. So I was really quite busy doing a lot of stuff. And, you know, in a 10-year period, I lost my mum, my dad,
my goodness,
and my 4 brothers from one blood in a 10-year period.
In a 10-year period.
Yes, lost everybody. It's just
that must have been really hard, Paul. How did you deal with that?
It was very, 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 very tough.
And others as well. One of his closest friends is Smiley Culture.
Yeah.
Yes.
He was a godparent.
And that was kind of shaky how Smiley went down.
Yeah.
So,
police custody and all of that.
Yeah, and he died 2 weeks before my father. And he's like one of Paul's closest friends. He's a godfather to our daughter.
Right.
And my father died 2 weeks after him. So we had to leave and go to Jamaica, bury Dad, and we missed.
Yeah, we didn't get to go to Smiley.
We didn't get to do anything for Smiley, you know, which was really.
That must have been tough.
Add to it all.
Yeah, that must have been tough.
It was, it was. I mean, even like when my brother Trevor passed away from cancer, I found my dad in Jamaica, and 4 weeks later to the day, my dad died.
My God.
You know what I mean? So we just buried Trevor, and then we had to go to Jamaica. So with all of this, we really had to cling on to our faith with God. So it was very.
God is real.
It was very helpful with all the projects that I was doing. That was so much gospel music and lyric, and then that's what made me want to put the album together, the His Love album, as a tribute. Because without God, with what we've been through, we couldn't make it. So it was giving back as well, because normally on my albums I do 2 or 3 giving thanks and praise, but we decided to just do a whole album, you know what I mean, for that, and that album's been dedicated to my family.
Let me say this, Paul. Let me say this, Valerie. I am so grateful to God that you guys are the way you are. I'm so grateful that He's made it possible for you to be in our generation at this time. It was no accident that the album His Love was brought about by God. You know, it started off as a project where, you know, it might have been like dub plates, people asking you to do certain things, and then turned into an album. If you haven't heard this album before, let me tell you something now. Go and seek it out. If you're a fan of reggae music, you should have His Love, Paul Barry Boom Robinson in your collection today. Go and get it.
I have to say, I remember when he was making the album, at the time, there was something that was happening differently for him, because Paul's very much in control of what he's doing. People approach him to work. If he doesn't feel that vibe, or he doesn't feel that song, he can't do it.
That's the Holy Spirit.
That's the kind of person that
I
he
won't
is.
work on something if I'm not feeling
If he's
it.
not
It's
feeling
not about
it,
the
he can't do it.
God is guiding you, Paul. And when you see when that feeling comes, like, hold on a minute, that's the Holy Spirit.
Exactly. And that was a difference in this particular album, because you were saying tell him how you felt like.
I felt like normally I'm in the driving seat when I'm doing a project.
That's what I was
But
trying
on
to
that
say.
album, I really felt like a passenger.
You were taking a back seat, weren't you?
I was taking on the ride because there's songs on that album that I would never dream of recording that song or whatever. So I just sort of let things happen, and and it's come out really organic. It's a really heartfelt album. Songs like One Day Soon, which Dennis Brown did, and I've adapted the lyrics on it. That one's really to do with my family, and seeing them once again, So it's a very emotional album for
Paul,
us.
I'm gonna ask you for a big one now,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna ask you to cut a big one here now. His Love is probably my favourite song.
Okay.
I want you to sing a little bit of a cappella for me, okay? His Love.
Okay.
Valerie, if you want to join in, you can do it. If you want to do a little bit of BVs.
Oh, right? You know what I mean? Let me see how me feel.
Clear. Okay, so let me introduce you, because this program is a special. Usually we would have finished by now, but with the Holy Spirit is moving. We're going to do something special. So, ladies and gentlemen, please get ready for an inspirational recording. This is a first. This has never been done before. We've got Paul Barry Boom Robinson and his wife Valerie Lane singing His Love.
Okay. Right. If you ever feel... Sorry, that's not it, is it?
That's
not my number. If you know you got the... You see, look at this now. All right.
Okay.
If you know you got the blessing and you're trusting in the mighty one, it's not a thing with overcoming the plans some do to stop you. Just use that strength in your heart. In God, you know you can brag and boast. Yes, He created us all. That's why we have His love. It's better than anything. His love. Oh, it's precious than a diamond ring. With His love, we can achieve our dream. With His love, He provides everything.
He certainly does. Everything. Everything. We mean literally everything.
Everything.
Yes.
That's what He provides.
It says, if you see it, you can be it. Doesn't matter where you're coming from. Just be careful who you're talking to, because they might scheme to block you.
Do you know what we're going to do, which you're going to get exclusive? Let's give him a touch of our chorus of my new single.
Yes, why not? Let's do that.
Shall we do that?
Yeah.
All
right, so what's the new single called? What's it called?
It's called God is Love.
God is Love.
God is Love.
Yeah.
Okay, when you're ready.
God. Okay.
God is. You start for me.
So 3 and 1. God is love. He's written from above. He's so incredible. Some kind of wonderful. God is love. Written from above. Some kind of wonderful, incredible.
Excellent.
Yeah,
So,
that's just a little bit of difference.
how long do we have to wait for that one, Valerie? How long? How long are you going to keep us waiting?
probably now. We're June now.
We're June. We hope to have that out by the end of this month. Okay. So we would just ask for listeners to look out for it, and hopefully I can get a link out there so we can get some pre-order links going.
Okay.
So I'll share it on social media.
I see you. So here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. So you've got "Stand by Your God," and the single that's coming. Is it going to be we're building to an EP or an album? Where are we going with this, Valerie?
We're building towards an album.
Yeah, we started the album already. Yeah.
By Christmas?
No. We can't set a time on the album as yet, because there's lots of stuff that we have in play. Yeah. And so we need to tie off certain things that we already have musically to sort out, and then because we're ticking off songs one at a time. But in terms of saying to this is what we've compiled, all these songs is what it's going to be. Because when you're making an album, it's not just about, say you're going to do 10 tracks and do 10 tracks. Sometimes you do 20 tracks and then you select from those which is going to be the best and what's going to flow best as a record. Because we're more old school, where when you play an album, it's supposed to put it on and it takes you on a whole ride. You don't have to keep skipping tracks and all of that. The tempo, the content.
They're learning again. They're learning. They are learning. This is how it used to be, but we still want to keep it that way, where you go on a journey with this.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because a lot of albums sound like compilation albums. Like you just put things together. You know what I mean?
Paul, tell them why the journey is important. When you drop the stylus on that first song, why is the journey important? Why? Why is that?
Well, it's because when you're making an album, especially like a concept album, it's a theme that you're taking them through. It's like you're watching a movie.
Right.
And you have the director, and he has his lighting people, he has his camera people, he has his wardrobe, he has the people that set the room to look like it's 1970, and they pick what cups over there and what thing. It's that whole method of thinking is when you're putting a record together, a project together. Because you as the performer are the actor. So you can have a great script and the actor's just not delivering. Mm-hmm. You can have a great song and it don't sound no good, but you put a certain artist on it and they deliver it with the characterization and everything, then it draws in the punter, draws them in, because then the music comes and give you a hug, it embraces you, rather than the music standing off over here and you over there. It's just the beat, and there's not good content, you know what I mean? Because you need to, when you're making music, people need to take something positive away from it that can benefit them, whether it's in their spiritual life, in their love life, in their relationship with people, how they think about the world and how they interact with the world. These are things that we try to put into our music. So when you listen to it, you actually really engage and get something out of it. And it takes you away to somewhere. Because that's what it was like for me. When I used to work in a record shop, when I'm looking at an album sleeve, to me, that was like a movie. It's like a video. I'm listening and I'm reading. You know what I mean? And it meant so much. It made me want to create. And that's what we're trying to do, is let people create whatever they create, whether it be music or writing or anything.
We're learning again. This is how it was and this is how it should be. And here's the thing for me, as not only as a presenter, but also a presenter for radio and DJing and stuff like that. Back in the day when we put on an album, we wanted to purchase an album where you put the first track on and you didn't lift the stylus again until it got to the very end.
So you got to flip it over.
When it got to the label, that's when it was time to take up the stylus, turn it over, and you go again. You can only get that when you're taking the process of the journey. Okay, yeah. And if you get the journey right, you don't skip track number 2 to go to track number 5. You just leave it.
Because it feels natural. It's a natural progression. Just like when you're doing a live show. You don't do a show and you start a whole show with all ballads. You've done 8 ballads in a row. Or you've done 8 high-tempo songs in a row. You've got to flow the songs in that, so you're taking your audience on that journey. You know what I mean? And make them want to come back.
We're learning again. Valerie.
And I to add to it as well by saying that, I'm a lyricist. Paul composes like music. He writes, and he's also a composer of music. So he's taking all the musical components, thinking about the strings, the bass, the drums, the guitar. I'm focused more on the lyrics, on the message of what's being said. And I'm about transformation. Music is transformational, and music is powerful. And I use it even in my coaching with my clients, you know, as a powerful tool, because you could play a song from when you was 10. A song would come on the radio and it would just make you feel how it would make you feel.
Yeah.
And when you listen to artists that are passionate, like what we do, we're passionate about what we do. Where some people, we know they're in the business, they're not. I'm passionate about the lyrics that I'm writing. Paul's passionate about the music he's creating. Where some people just jump in the music business because they just want to make music. They maybe want to find girlfriends. They maybe want to, you know, make themselves look good and maybe make a name to be popular. But the music and the content of the music, for us, it's a passion. So when Paul makes his music as well, he's not just making it and putting it out. He's mixing, he's studying it. He makes sure he gets it mastered before it even gets into the hands of a DJ. You know, all these things are important. The production, right all the way through to the end. So if that means I'm singing, and it may sound okay to me when I'm in the studio, but I have to do it again. There's a better, Paul say, there's a better one. You can do it better.
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't believe you. I don't believe you. I want to believe.
He's a hard taskmaster, I can tell, Valerie. So hard.
To ask any artist that has been produced by him, what a difference it has made for them. Ask for them, because when you finish doing what you're doing, after you finish doing your work, and you hear it back, you can't even believe that it's you. Because you've put the time in and you've got someone to coach you through it, to work you through it, and get the best out of you. And so when the product comes out, the finished product is going to be all that work that's gone into it.
And let me tell you, I've heard all of your music since you've become a Christian, and back in the day of One Blood as well. Valerie, I love the single "Stand By Your Man." Paul, his love the album "Stand By Your God." Stand by your God.
Stand by my man. Don't
stand by your God. Paul with the album His Love, absolutely brilliant. How long's it been around now? How long's the album been on the shelves?
It's about 18 months now, isn't it?
18 months.
It's about 18 months.
Yeah, but we haven't really had the push behind it. We haven't had no big marketing campaign.
Let me ask you this question, Paul.
Table, you know?
I've got to ask this question, Paul, because prior to His Love, prior to that, you hadn't recorded anything else, right?
Yeah, no, I did an album in 2012, Everyday Life.
Everyday Life.
Yeah,
Everyday Life.
That together,
yeah, 2012.
I did not know that. That one.
Yes.
Once again, even though it's our work, it's a really wonderfully put together and weaved.
And everyday life is actually about living and giving thanks to God. Everyday life. There are some love songs on there and some social commentary, but it's mainly
about
faith.
Okay.
Plant in the present for the harvest of your future. With faith, you can manifest all. The peace and love you require, and
that you need to take you higher.
I
check that out. I'm surprised you don't know that.
Okay, that one is definitely skipped past me, but we can remedy that. We can roll back a little bit and make sure I get that. But here's the thing: when I heard about His Love, I was so excited. So excited. I tell you what, if I was to tell you the story, I was like moving heaven and earth to get hold of you. I went to a function, and the only reason why I went to this function, because at the function there was a guy who I knows you.
Okay.
Right? And would have your number. And the only reason why I went to this function was to get a message to you. Otherwise, I wouldn't even bother. I don't even live in London. I travelled from where I live in Northamptonshire to this venue in South London, just to speak to a guy that I knows you and has your number. When I heard His Love, I was like, hold on a minute. And you mean to tell me that's the guy that was in One Blood? I've got to track this guy down. and yeah, I kind of moved heaven and earth to get to you. And when I finally did, it was like a blessing. I want to know though, Paul, okay, because you've done mainstream, now you're a gospel artist. What are the challenges between from moving from? Was you well received? Was it the same as mainstream? What was it?
Let me clarify. I am still the same artist that I always was.
I understand that.
I sing love songs, I sing songs of love, and I sing giving thanks and praise. Now, the love songs I sing, love is God. God is love. And the love between a man and a woman is the love I sing about in a respectful way. So I will always be singing love songs because I'm in love. You're in love. And I'm experiencing real love. So I can sing about that. I'm not singing about nastiness and those type of things.
Let me say this. Your love goes like this, right? It's like this, but it's also like this as well.
Okay? Yes.
The love of the love between you and the Father, and the love that you share with mankind is like
absolutely
this.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. So I wouldn't class myself as a gospel artist, you understand, but I make gospel music as well as I make secular music. But the type of secular music I make, I believe that God, Jesus would approve of what I'm doing.
I'm kind of wondering, is there a difference between a gospel artist and what you're describing? Is there any difference?
Well, there is.
It's only sing songs giving thanks and praise. That's what I say as a gospel artist.
Yeah, you're just singing off the gospel. You're just giving praises to
I'm a minstrel. That's what I am.
It'd be interesting to get our viewers' comments on that particular subject. But yeah, I hear where you're coming from. So the album His Love has only been around for about 18 months. And what with the pandemic and lockdown and everything else, it's kind of... So it can... Listen, it's got a shelf life that I believe is forever.
Yes.
Like I said, you need to go and get your copy. Listen for yourself. I love the album. Plans going forward, though, for both of you. Tell me what the plans are. All right? Because 2022 is just around the corner. 2023, 25... What's the plan?
We've got so much content.
We've been doing a lot of recording and everything through COVID. So the plans is, well, of course, we're Valerie's album. Right. I have an originals album, which I'm doing of all original songs, which my new single is going to be coming behind Valerie's single, which is called Love Is Real. I also have a covers album that I'm doing because I love a great song. I'm not, as a producer, the producer doesn't care what the song is when you put on your producer's hat. When you're in artist mode, an artist wants to sing a great song, not just his own song. So I love singing great songs. So
a bit like Sir John Holt.
Yes. So I'm doing a covers album.
Nice.
I'm also going to be doing a One Blood tribute album.
All right. It's all in the game.
Yes.
So songs that I didn't sing, like Show Some Love, All in the Game, Sparkle in Your Eyes. I didn't sing my brother's song, those. It's Nature. So I'll be singing the songs that I sung, redoing them over. So we have our own versions of them. House Is Not a Home, Getting Tucked, Running Around, whatever. But the list is like about 45.
I can see. This is what I see. I see. You see, by the time you get to that stage where you're doing the One Blood makeover, we're out of lockdown. Valerie, you're gonna have to get used to not seeing him again. I'm so sorry.
Well, to be honest,
because he's missing, mate. He's gone.
I'm hardly seeing her. She's a busy bunny.
Yes, I'm a heart mindset relationship coach.
Right.
And I've devised a series of programs for professional Christian women, which is really just showing the wisdom and everything that I've learned to maintain a long-lasting, successful marriage, and also to help them unfunction their dysfunction, because many women have many past betrayals and past pains, things from childhood, which are subconsciously preventing them from you know, getting on with the mission that they have in their lives, whether it's for God or to just go on and have a loving relationship.
Oh, it's so interesting. It's very interesting indeed. So, God
People
has blessed.
can DM me at Marriage Road.
Give me that one more time again.
Marriage Road. I'm on my daughter set up Instagram, so I'm not so familiar, but it's Instagram. My Instagram handle is at Marriage Road.
Marriage rope.
Rope.
I gotcha.
Rope.
Rope. Let's pull on that rope.
Yeah, this is her book, The Marriage Road.
Hey, that looks good. That looks really good.
Yeah.
Yes, you can see our hands. We're holding on to the marriage rope. When we got married, my aunt, she came up and was giving a speech, and she said that there is 3 of you in the wedding, in this marriage, 3 of you, and we're like, 3 of you? What are you talking about? And then she said it is you, your wife, and God, and the 3 of you together, you tie together like a piece of rope, and you hold on to that rope.
And don't let nobody come into it.
Don't let nobody into your relationship.
The only person
is God.
So said, so done.
So said, so done.
And we're there.
So that's why this is called the marriage. That's why it's called the marriage road.
The marriage road.
Valerie.
That's the back.
Excellent. Valerie, that is a proper book, you know. That is a proper book. Have you seen, you know, some people say they've written books and it's like maybe 20 pages. But show me the thickness of that book again. Show me the thickness.
It's not online yet. I just printed a few, you know.
There's the thickness.
Okay. Well, I want to get my copy of that.
Okay.
I think there's 1 or 2 nuggets in there, right?
No, it's a very, very good read.
Because just from the few people that have read it, you know, the feedback and also like some of the tips that I give there is what I use with my relationship coaching.
Right.
And
Okay.
you know, you just got to test the waters first because you know I've been a bit nervous. You know, Paul's normally the one out front. I'm behind like this, you know, but
I think you're doing a great job. And you know what? I think through this program and through the other things that you're doing, you're going to get inundated with calls and everything. Go on Instagram. Give us your Twitter. Give us your Instagram handle again one more time.
It's at Marriage Road.
At Marriage Road. Paul.
My Instagram is Barry Boom Music.
Barry Boom Music.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's on Instagram. What about Facebook?
Facebook is Barry Bourne Musicians page. He does have a personal Facebook,
right?
But it's just kind of gotten. He wants to focus on his music, and he hardly goes in there. So if you go to his Barry Bourne Musicians page,
right,
everything's there, and people can hook up with him there, make their request there, talk to him there, and you know that's his contact. I'm on Facebook. I am Val Robinson.
Right, nice one. And where can we get the album? Can we get it from where?
It's available on all online platforms.
Right, I've got you.
Amazon, iTunes, you should be able to download from anywhere. The US.
We've sold out of all our hard copies.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
They've all sold out. So
print up some more.
I know.
Print up some more. Everybody's streaming, but there's nothing like holding the physical.
I know.
There's nothing like holding the physical.
We was using Amazon Media on Demand, but they've stopped the service now.
Oh wow!
So only just this month they've cut it all off. So once I get sorted with another on-demand service, then
you can get a hard copy with the booklet and everything. So we want our stuff. We try to make up. Well, just like you see the book, the packaging is very important. I mean, sometimes you've got people's packaging that looks so great, and when you get inside, it's not good. But we know what's inside is good, but we want to present it. We're not signed to a major label, but we still want our product to look as if we are.
Excellent.
Excellent. So you have to invest in yourself.
Absolutely, the way our Lord and Saviour would have us to present ourselves excellently. Last but not least, lockdown is about to lift. Looking forward to concerts, getting back out on the stage, both of you.
Yes. We're already discussing, working with our band, organising the rehearsals, because as Paul said earlier, we're all about live, and this going through this lockdown experience has taught us that we need to return to performing live musicians and stuff. So we're looking around that, because when everyone's working live, it is like a family, travel together. You with me? And it's not just about you. Your band members are so important. Yeah. You know, and also you create income for other people. You know what I mean? Like, you know, your band members, we've got families out here. Yeah. You know? So we're looking forward to that. But again, as Paul says, it's all about investment, you know, being responsible. You know, we're in a position now where we own our stuff. You know, back in the day, how difficult it's been. You cannot find one single musician that, unfortunately, that's what I will share with the younger ones, that, you know, sometimes they look on us elders and think, what's happened to them? Unfortunately for us guys, you know, some of our elders, you know, they whooped us. You know what I mean? They knew what was good and what they could get paid out of. And they took advantage, just like a lot of the record companies are. So even though the young people want to run to the record company, everything you do is recoupable. And you think it's all great, look at this lovely limo, but there's more to it. There's more ways of earning revenues, whether it's the PRS, the MCPS, the PPL, all these things. We never knew about it. We were in our 20s.
I'm sitting there and I'm laughing and I'm smiling. I'm thinking to myself, you know something? See that Valerie? She could give a seminar on the music industry, you know. Easily. Very easily.
Come on.
You guys are amazing. I give God thanks for your lives. Thank you for being our guest on Caribbean Praise today.